Wizards fans, welcome into a post-game Believe in Wizards after a win for a change. Damo, instead of getting blown out by 25 or 28 or whatever, they actually win by almost 20 points. I did not expect that after the first 10 minutes of this game, so I'll take it. What'd you think?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the kids, man.
Yep.
Corey Kispert, Kyshawn George, even Bub Carrington. I like the way he just kind of steadied the ship.
Yeah, agreed.
No wasted dribbles. He just kind of got to it, and his dribble penetration helped them get easier looks. It moved the defense so they could swing. Next thing you know, it was bombs away, man.
Yeah, even like Bub didn't shoot all that well, especially early, and he just didn't seem to let it phase him in the least. He just kept doing his thing. He kept moving the ball. I like what you said about the no wasted dribbles there. Like he was very purposeful in what he did, and I feel like you don't see that from rookie like point guards all that often. So the maturity there like really showed through. So that was great.
Yeah, he looked like a coach's son tonight.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like
That's
the shot
exactly.
wasn't falling. He wasn't really finishing well at the rim, but he just made the right plays. It was a couple ones he just missed at the rim,
Yep.
but it allowed the big to get it. It allowed a tip in rebound for another possession. Where before it was just kind of like hot potato basketball, and it was just ending in turnovers and layups for the Raptors the other way.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And I think the other thing that was cool was just especially like a young rookie guard, it's not like a 21-year-old rookie coming in like you see every once in a while, like, or, the older guys, like even 21-year-old freshmen sometimes. He's like the right age for an actual, one and done rookie. And he was like bumping guys and being physical and like not probably the best defender yet, but he's like not afraid to kind of like, initiate contact and put his chest on people. So that was a pleasant surprise for me too. And honestly, I expected nothing from him or Kyshawn George defensively this year. And I thought they've both been pretty good on that end.
Yeah, them boys compete. I mean,
Right. Yeah,
they
that's all you
don't
need.
they don't know what they don't know, right? Like
Yep.
they just out there just look, hey, you're not about to embarrass me, and they not afraid. Like
Yep.
that's the main thing. I don't know what player it was that I heard say that, but they was just like, the key to playing defense is just not being afraid to be embarrassed.
Hmm.
And them dudes would get up in your chest. They're gonna slide them puppies as best they can, and they're gonna fight.
Yep. Yeah. You love to see that from them. And just, sometimes with like a rookie, especially, or even just young players in general, like not shooting well can take them out of everything else they're doing. But both guys were committed to doing like other stuff on the court, which was awesome to see.
Yeah.
Kyshawn, like everybody agreed, was like unanimously great tonight. Only 3 of 4 for 9 points. He didn't like dominate the game in terms of like points scored, but it felt like he had just such like a positive impact with everything he was doing. Like the 3 or 4 was obviously super efficient. 3 of 3 from 3. The super ball fake was amazing, but he
Yeah.
also had 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, only 2 turnovers. Like his command of the game was big. Bub was 5 of 12, 2 of 7 from 3, but also had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, only 1 turnover.
Mhm.
They're doing other stuff, and that's really like I don't know. It's not a thing like you've seen from a lot of the recent Wizards draft picks. Like they kind of did their one thing. Like Rui had like mid range scoring, and that was like kind of it. Like Denny finally became like an all around player. For a while, it was just like defensive, but it took him 4 years to do that. Corey is just now starting to like incorporate some other elements here, get a couple more rebounds going. But like these guys coming in are already showing more, kind of across the board. And this goes back model of like pass, dribble, shoot, and defend, a positional size. Like you can see the archetype shining through.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say this, man. They hoopers, man.
Right.
They kind of just what the moment needs. They
Hmm.
have a variety of skills that they can impact the game. They're not just like how you mentioned with Rui. Like he's got to get the ball in a certain spot on the floor. He's got to get
Hmm.
to his little pull up midi.
Yep.
But outside of that, you really don't want him doing stuff with the ball.
No.
Um,
Right.
Denny, we've talked hours about his limitations, going left.
Mhm.
Obviously, his jump shot that coming along, but it's like with these guys, they don't have like glaring holes. like they can impact the game in multitude of ways. And so they can kind of just rise to the occasion depending on what the moment calls for. And like you say with Kyshawn, like he didn't have a lot. He didn't have a big stat sheet, but he was kind of doing a little bit of everything. And when he did it, it was like at the most opportune times.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's actually give me 2 seconds to pause for ad reads because I forgot to do that. Brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside Hard Iced Teas, hard lemonades. You deserve all of them in celebration after a Wizards victory. And brought to you by BetOnline. It's your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. So, Damo, going to be a little conflicted on Sunday. I'm assuming Commanders over Ravens if you got to pick there, but both your squads. So people, if they want to bet on the local rivalry, can do that. Good option for folks. But yeah, that's a nice option.
Yeah, that's gonna be a show Sunday. I'm mad I'm not gonna be at the game. I'm gonna be out of town, but that's gonna be a show.
I haven't been to a football game in the last couple of years, and I was like strongly debating it just because they're both good. And when was the last time that was the case? And it'll just be like a fun game, I think. So looking forward to that. But folks, go put down your money on whichever team you want or not. Some prop bets if you want to do that too. But head to the website or use your mobile device to get on the action. Bet online where the game starts. All right, let's talk about the other rookie here tonight. Alex Sarr, 2 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, which was probably the highlight there. 1 of 2 from the line. Okay, not too big a deal there. 4 rebounds, so a little less than maybe you would like from him, but finished with 7 points, 1 block, only 1 turnover. I thought he was just like pretty solid. I didn't really have many complaints. Like he was active defensively, more good than bad, I think I would say about Sarr tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he's up to now, 7 for 13 from 3 during the preseason. So
I'll take that.
That's major. That's major for him. But the thing I love about him is just his defensive activity and versatility. Like you saw one play where he just locked up Scotty, poked the ball away. Scotty got it back, tried to go at him, and he just blocked the shot right back to him. And just the shot blocking at the rim, the shot determinant, man. Like he's going to be a really special defender, man. I come away impressed with him, man.
Froze up a little bit there on you. Sorry, partner. My internet has just been shit all week. Sorry about that. Koulibaly. Thoughts on Koulibaly for tonight? 3 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. Like the 6 of 6 from the free throw line. But Koulibaly had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Another guy that really stuffed the stat sheet across the board there.
Yeah, man. Bilal just doing a little bit of everything, man. Again, his activity defensively, just being an elite athlete, shot blocking, just being a pest on defense, getting his hand in passing lanes. And then that move he made on the big for the dunk, I was just like, that's why we think there's another level for him than just being a 3-and-D guy. Like his first step is crazy. And once he figures it out, he can be dangerous, man.
I think it's like a veteran thing too, from like a footwork perspective, to just know like when to take those long strides too. It's not even just like that the step is so quick, but he just seems to have like the timing and the footwork on down on a lot of these things like that. That layup to finish the half, he kind of like diced through people. Like I don't know. It just he already seems more polished on that end, just with even kind of the little stuff from last year. So give him 2-3 more years. I think there's a ton of untapped potential left there.
Right, on top of him still growing. So
yeah. By the time we're done with it, he'll be 7'2". Like we're just gonna every year he's somehow gonna go like 3 more inches.
It's crazy.
All right, we got to talk about the elephant in the room here a little bit, and that's just everyone old on this team essentially. I thought Kuzma had a good third quarter to kind of like salvage the night somewhat. He was 7 of 17. From the field, 3 of 11 from 3, which there were just way too many just like bricked short threes. 5 of 9 from the free throw line. I think all 4 misses came in like a 60-second period of the game. But he did have 6 rebounds, did have 3 assists, a steal. The 5 turnovers were rough. Some of them were just no intentioned passes. Like he looked flat early. And to his credit, I think he did turn that around, but I don't know. It's not been a great start to the preseason for him so far. Where are you at with Kuzma 3 games into this?
Yeah, I mean, this game in particular, he just looked – I mean, really the whole preseason, but this game in particular, it just looked like he was out of shape. It looked like he's trying to play his way into shape.
Yeah.
Like he had two bricks strapped to his ankles, and so he
Yeah,
couldn't
no
really get
lift at all.
no lift on his jump shot. The third quarter, he started to get rhythm, and it kind of helped that comeback.
Mhm.
But yeah, that first half was bad, and then kind of later into the fourth, his legs, it seemed like, was starting to die on him again. But I'm not really worried about him. He's a vet. I think we know what he's going to be
Mhm.
throughout the season as long as he's healthy. But yeah, it looks like he's kind of trying to play his way back into shape.
I thought that, like, little stretch of he hit a couple jumpers and then immediately went into, like, point Kuzma mode. I think that's when he's, like, the most effective and productive player for them. Like, there were a couple like, he had a ball fake and then a swing to George, who then swung into Kispert in the left corner. He hit a 3. Like, he was just moving the ball for them. He was bringing the ball up after he got a couple rebounds in a row and pushed the pace, and those guys spread out around him. Like, that's when they went on that little run, and I thought that's when they're most dangerous because you have to guard him when he's got the ball, but when he's a willing passer too, there was none of that, like, dribble, 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 tough jumper. Uh, that's what you wanna see all year from him, I think.
Yeah, embracing that I guess that inner Lamar Odom ability that I
Yeah,
think
right.
he's
Mhm,
like, where he's just kind of a jack of all, do it all type player, but really his most vital attribute is his
mhm.
ability to kind of see over the defense and make the right read. But when he's kind of in that, like, I'm gonna be a number one scorer, it can get sloppy sometimes, especially if you don't have his legs. Now, if he hot, he hit
Sure.
2, 3 jumpers in a row. All right,
Mhm,
get back to him. Go ahead, shoot that fade. Go shoot that step back.
mhm.
But I think the way he starts games should be, as
Facilitator mode.
primarily as a facilitator first.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like you said, Lamar Odom versus, like, I'm gonna try to do, like, my T-Mac impression, and it just there were a couple of possessions where like, "Oh," both heels are on the three-point line, "Please don't shoot
Yeah,
that," and then he did, and I think, just given the overall fan reaction, I think you and I are both higher on Kyle Kuzma at this point than the majority of the Wizards fan base, it seems like, but to me,
of
that's
course.
still a really valuable player, even I don't know, basketball's all about advantages, and there aren't many 6'10" guys that can create offense for himself and for others, so when he's doing a blend of both, like, that's where you get the advantage from him on the court. Putting him at the 3, I think takes a lot of that advantage away because he's just easier for other wings to guard. But when
Yeah,
he's at the 4 and, you've got spacing around him and you've got an actual, like, stretch big, I mean, not that, Sarr's hitting shots right now. I don't know the teams are guarding him fully like a stretch big yet, but, like, the potential to at least shoot from that, and then you can be like a 5 out team. I think that's when, like, Kuzma can start to pick guys apart and really make an impact too.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the difference between having somebody like a Herb Jones guarding you
Yeah.
or a Zion guarding you. Like,
Mhm.
I would rather, if I'm Kuz, I would rather have Zion guarding
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think he's better suited playing at that 4 spot. And it just gives the team more spacing, and like he gets more opportunities to kind of grab and go on the rebound, push and transition. And now you get that facilitator, that Lamar Odom again. And I think that's where he's best. Oh,
Yeah, I
did I
froze
get
up again there, sorry, Dom. Yeah, I
I'm
think
sorry.
the other thing, with Kuzma too is, like, when they put him out there with some of the other young guys that were all also willing to grab the ball off the board and push in transition, like, when he was out there with George and with Bub, and actually even Sarr had one where he kinda got the ball himself and started to break a little bit. Corey had one. When they
Yeah,
did that little 3rd quarter run, like, that's what makes them dangerous, I think, is if you have all these guys that can put the defense on their heels immediately, they're just not gonna create enough advantages for themselves in the half court this year against a set defense. So any of them, when those guys are out there together, like, I think that's the probably most exciting thing that George can do is kind of in that role that, like, we always kind of you always heard that people wanted from Denny is, like, the point guard in transition kinda role, secondary creator type. Like, that's where I think he can thrive is like starting the break, for himself, and he's big enough
yeah.
to get rebounds too and tries to.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean that's the player everybody wants, right? Like
Yep.
those players that can just kind of do a little bit of everything. I mean, that you want like 5 of those guys on your
Mhm.
team, man. Those are guys that get close to max contracts, and you look and you say, well, he's not a dominant player, but he's getting paid like one.
Yep.
So, that's the blueprint, man.
I thought Valanciunas was a little better tonight too, maybe coming off the bench. Like, he didn't I don't know, like, he didn't do a ton, like, scoring around the rim, but he had a lot of free throws, he got to the line, he used
Yeah.
his size against a smaller Raptors team and end up 8 of 10 from the free throw line. I don't know if he'll do that very often, but the 8 rebounds were big. I thought he, like, ended a couple big possessions for them. Only 1 block, which is fine, but only 2 turnovers tonight. The 5 turnovers he had the other night, like, I think that kinda, like, sunk them early. But him and Bub, they seem to have, like, pretty good chemistry, and if you could bring those 2 off the bench together, like, there aren't a lot of teams in the league that are gonna deal with a guard that's as dynamic as Bub can be, and then if you've got Valanciunas as your backup center essentially coming in, good luck guarding that for most if you're Toronto and you bring in Chris Boucher, like, good fucking luck with that. Like, you're gonna get bullied.
Yeah, I mean, I think him off the bench, the lack of mobility and
Mhm.
vertical pop doesn't kill you as much.
Yep.
Like he could just be a big body,
Mhm.
give him a couple post touches, and he can kill second unit bigs. But as a starter, it was
Yeah.
like he just looked. I mean, it looked like everybody else was at one speed and he was in slow motion. But as a reserve, yeah, like you say, we're playing off a Bub who again does not waste dribbles.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he can feast off of that, man, for sure.
And he was a willing passer, like, the give and go he had with Bub was awesome. There was almost another one where you could see he wanted to throw it, but just couldn't quite get the angle. And just I don't know, it's like what you said with him in the starting lineup, like, it takes away their ability to run, which is probably their best asset, is having, like, the horses to get out there as, like, young dudes to get out there and just outrace people. And with him on the second unit, like, now when you don't have as many, like, shot creators around him, he could go be a guy you throw it in the post, slow things down a little bit, change the pace up a bit. And, even with him, like, the starting lineup, he's a good defensive rebounder, but he's not the same outlet passer as some of these other, really good big rebounders are. So they still end up, like, coming back to get the ball from him and then waiting for him to get down court. So it helps
Yeah.
that he gets the rebound, but it doesn't lead to anything other than that.
Yeah, and then I just think just spacing wise in the half court, like
Yeah.
a big body like that, especially if you're playing him next to Sarr, like
Mhm.
it's just clogging the lane and it really limits your guards and your wings' ability to kind of get to the rim. So I like the idea, of bringing him off the bench. Like I think that's fine for him at this point in his career.
And then, if there are certain matchups throughout the year when you play one of these really big bully traditional centers, like if they're playing Philly and you want to start them against Embiid, like that makes sense to me.
By all
But
means.
do you need to do it against the Brooklyn Nets at this point? Like, I don't see the point.
Nope.
Or even Toronto is probably the perfect one. All right, let's talk about the other vet here. Haven't gotten to him yet. Jordan Poole played 22 minutes. He was 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 6 from three, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, which were nice. I thought he did put up a little resistance a couple times, defensively, which is kinda all you really need from him at a minimum. 2 turnovers, so not crazy, but, he's a -11 on the night, probably the worst on the team from plus minus perspective, so not
Yeah.
great. I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pass because he did get his bell rung a little bit there, and I'm sure that was tough, and he did try to come back in and wasn't super effective, but it wasn't shaping up to be a particularly memorable Jordan Poole night, even before, getting hit like that.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because I was so impressed with how his floor game from the first
Yep.
preseason game. But these last two, I've just been like, this is the Jordan Poole that gets people riled up on Twitter.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
and I made a comment about Bub not wasting dribbles.
Mhm.
Like Poole wastes a lot of dribbles.
Yeah.
And when he does that, he gets himself into trouble and it leads to turnovers or it leads to stagnant half
Mhm.
court possessions. Um, he needs to be decisive. He is very quick with the ball. And he has so many moves. I think it's almost like he got too many moves and he just be
Right.
trying to
Gotta
It's like you be
simplify a
trying to
little bit.
show them all at the same time, and it's
Mhm.
like, bro, you ain't got to do all that. Just get to it. Get right to the spot and get a shot up or make a read. But like, you get to be trying to do too much, and then it's a turnover.
Yeah, I think that's actually, like, the perfect description because that is really what it feels like of like, "Oh, I could do this into the hezzy, and, like, I'll give you this move," and it's like, "Dude, just keep it moving. The ball will come back to you." Like, and I think that was the real disappointment last year with the, like, he couldn't play more off ball, is there were no one was ever creating an easy look for him. He had to work so hard for every
Yeah.
shot he got, and there just doesn't seem to be the Poole Kuzma chemistry, and I
No.
know, like, all the Poole fans hate Kuzma. I think all the Kuzma fans are hating on Poole. It's just they're like, "Oh, these guys never pass." It's like, they don't really seem to pass to each other, and they don't ever seem to create an easy look for each other. But then, like we talked about, when it was just Kuzma in there with the kids, he was slinging the ball all over the place. So what is it? Like, is it healing egos for who runs the team? Like, that I can't tell if they don't like met each other or just not a great fit.
It just seemed like it's just a bad basketball fit. Like,
Mhm.
I have friends of mine that I love to death, but I can't
Sure.
play with them.
Yep.
Like it's
That's a great
just
point.
can't play with them, man. I love them. Come to the been in my wedding, all of that. I can't play with them. I just think I don't know. Like when Kuzma has the ball, and like I said, he's in that Lamar Odom role facilitating. It's
Mhm.
like Poole just look like he don't know what to do. Like he
He's
just
just
kind of
it's the
like
stand in the corner again thing. Yeah.
yeah, he just out there like he might as well be filing his nails. But I think like you said, when he gets to, I think Poole operates best when it's just him,
Yep.
a screen setting big, and three
Mhm.
shooters.
Right, exactly. Just spread the floor for him and,
Yeah,
a
and
rim
then
runner, you know?
yeah, and just you got to kind of let him just do his thing for good or for bad.
Right.
But if you try to put so much structure in there, and then you got him on the floor with another guy that's also trying to run the offense, he just get tight, man. And then he get the pressing, and next thing you know, he 0 for 7, and now he pressing more. So yeah,
I just love the way you said that too about, like, sometimes you can love a guy to death and it just the basketball stuff doesn't make sense. Like, there's a guy in this pickup game we play in, and he's probably the best dude to play with and, like, does all the right things, is always in the right spots. His teams win more than they don't, but we just always both go to the same place on the court all the time. And I just, like, feel like we're running into each other at, like, and we both do better on other teams, but it's like, I love that dude and I love the way he plays, but it doesn't work, and
yeah,
I don't know how you stagger these guys enough to make that, productive or, if I'm it was like the one year with, probably the Westbrook Beal year, there was some amount of, like, Scott Brooks would never stagger them, he had to play them, like, every minute together, it seemed like, and then he'd bring in a whole subunit, but
yeah,
with these 2 guys, I'd almost advocate for that same thing I think fans push for then is, like, split them up some and just see if that works. Surround each of them with kids, but, our guy
yeah.
Will Clayton just said in the chat, "Poole and Kuz ever have a game where they both went off together?" I do not remember a single time where both guys had, like a clean 30 on the same night. Like, maybe once or twice, but I'm not thinking of, but I can't think of a single one.
Yeah, I can't either. Because like I said, neither one. I would say more Poole than anything is just
Mhm.
he's not able to operate without the ball. Like he's just not. It's just not a part of his skill set. And so I think he's got to be in control of the offense if you're trying to maximize him.
Yep.
And obviously Kuzma at his best is controlling the offense to a degree, especially on the fast break. Um, so it's just not really a good fit. So we'll see how that works. Maybe that might have been part of why Poole played so much better coming off the bench last year. He didn't,
Yep.
you're not sharing playmaking reps. You're just once you come off the bench, you coming in with Kuzma off, and you get to kind of just do your thing.
Yeah, if I'm Keith, I don't think either of them are gonna take too kindly at this point of where they're at in this pecking order of the team of coming off the bench, but start them a few minutes together and first media timeout, one comes out and then you're staggering. But you're still going to play them each 30 some minutes a game. So there's only really so much staggering you can do there. But I would try to maximize that time when I can. I would never have both of them off the floor at this point.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like if Brogdon was healthy,
Yeah.
like ideally that's probably your starter, and then you have like a perfect, but that would probably win too many games.
Right. That's the other thing you got to keep in mind here too.
Yeah, you would have win too many games because I think that would look really, really good to be able to stagger them, and then you have Brogdon as the floor general there who can also play off it. In between those two guys. But when they're both on the floor, it's like it just don't fit, man. It just don't fit.
Yep, totally agree. All right, as we start to wrap this up here, I think we have a prime candidate for the second ever Oleksiy Pecherov, I get bucket son MVP of the game for an irrational confidence in just chucking the ball up over and over again, despite it clearly not working for him. Got to give it to Kyle Kuzma on a 7 of 17 night. I did save that a little bit in the third quarter here, but the man is not bashful. Like he's never met a next shot that he doesn't think he can hit. And to be honest with you, I respect it. I mean, like sometimes I wish he wouldn't, but having confidence in your ability to make that next one is also what helps these guys get to the level that they're at too. So can't really blame him too much.
Yeah, if you want to be in a scorer in that league, you got to have the confidence. Hopefully he can pass that down to Bilal and Sarr and Kyshawn. Hope they soak up all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, I think that's been the cool thing about the rookies too, though. Like they're not like Kyshawn and Bub especially do not look deferential. Like if they get a look, it's going up. Like, I mean, they'll make the right play too, but they're also not like Bilal a lot last year did the do you think I can shoot it? Is it okay? Like,
right.
These guys have not done that. Yeah. And granted, it's only 3 preseason games, but I hope they never lose that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, you got to believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, believe in the work you put in. So yeah, I hope if nothing else, that rubs off on those kids so they can really be assertive scoring options.
Domo, anything we haven't hit on here that you want to mention before we close this thing out?
Shout out to Corey Kispert, man.
Yeah, good night for him. We didn't talk about him at all, but he was great.
It was a good ass game, man. That's what I want to see from him all year, and I think he's due for his extension. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be here beyond long into that extension, but yeah, I hopefully I'm banking on Kispert having a good season.
Tonight was the night, last post game with Will, I talked about, even though he had a solid game, I wanted to see more. Tonight was what I wanted from him. 7-11 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. There should never be a night where Kispert goes 3 of 3 from the 3-point line. There need to be more shot attempts than that.
Right.
He had 5 rebounds, which was great. 1 assist. It felt like he moved the ball well, though. Had some hockey assists, probably a steal. He had 2 blocks. Has Corey Kispert ever had a 2-block night? He was active defensively, at least. I mean, that was great to see. Honestly, it might be one of my 2 or 3 favorite Corey Kispert games so far. Granted, it's a preseason game, but just I liked everything he did. He wasn't forcing stuff, but he also did he forced the action, but in a good way, I guess.
Yeah, and his ability to just he's an elite. I won't say elite. He's a really good player off the ball. He just knows how to find space on the floor and get open. He's just one of them guys that just finds himself open with the ball to shoot the 3 a lot because that's a skill. And you put him on the floor with a guy like Kyshawn George, who's kind of ahead of the curve now. Now you got 2 snipers that are 6'7" plus that defenses really, really have to worry about. I think I like the idea of that going forward. And I ain't even talking about Sadiq Bey sitting on ice right now. So
that's a great point too.
All of a sudden for a Wizards franchise, it seemed like they could never find consistent shooting. All of a sudden, you might have some legitimate dudes there manning them jerseys.
War criminal Tommy Shepard first saying in his first draft he was going to go get 6'7" wings who were athletic and could shoot. We're finally getting that. And Corey's not a great, an amazing athlete, but he's pretty mobile. George is a better mover than I expected him to be at this point in his career. It looks like he's already kind of built himself back up here. Bilal is obviously great. We need him to knock down some more shots, but like you're seeing the blueprint of that too, which is awesome. Just real quick as we wrap this, like Johnny Davis minutes, not great tonight. Only 6 minutes, 0 for 2 from the field. Basically, a couple Shaqtin' a Fool candidate moments. Patrick Baldwin was like kind of fine. I don't know, like his 12, like I
Yeah.
don't even remember he played 12 minutes because it just that was like cardio at the end. The one I can't reconcile is how on a night like this, I get maybe they just wanted to get the win, so they weren't going to the bench too much, but like Vucevic has to play more than 4 minutes in a game like this. I just would have liked to see him play a few more minutes with actual, meaningful players on the team rather than like the garbage minutes with like Gill and Kyra Lewis and Patrick Baldwin and Jared Butler and stuff like that.
Yeah, his lack of minutes has probably been the biggest
Weird.
surprise to me this preseason. Like, it just seemed like he's kind of fallen out of favor for whatever
Mhm.
reason. And maybe that's just Sarr. You drafted a guy at his position, number 2
Yeah.
overall. But yeah, I mean, and then you add Biles. I mean, if you include him, what they got like 5 centers on the roster?
That's really the problem. Yeah. You're not even putting Rashawn Holmes in games right now. And
Yeah,
Bagley didn't come off the bench like that.
Bagley ain't playing. Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, I mean, and then in regards to the other two, I mean, Pat Baldwin, I mean, I don't even know, man. Like Kyshawn George is what I thought Pat Baldwin was going to
Right.
be,
Exactly. Yep.
and then Johnny Davis, bless his heart, man. But
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if he's not cut. He's just not an NBA player.
Yeah, honestly, like we've been talking about, it's got to be one of those two. I might just eat the money and waive both, and then try to find another young guy to bring up. Like just if they're not in the future, like why hang around at this point?
I mean, at least PBJ is 6'10", so I'm like, all right, you can get out there and do something. Just be tall, brother. Like,
Right.
be tall. But Johnny, like, I just don't know what to do with him at this point.
Yeah, it's tough, man. All right, my internet wants the night off here, so let's wrap this thing up. Damo, thank you for doing this, man. It was fun to talk about a win. Hopefully, we have more of these to come. And even if we don't get win, it's just cool to see the young guys play well. We'll take that.
For sure.
All right, everybody. The next game is Monday night against the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn at 7:30. So that's Monday, October 14th. So enjoy your long holiday weekend, everybody. Just believe in Wizards. Appreciate y'all. Hit that like button for us if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate that. And subscribe. Let's get this thing up over 1,000.